Hi everyone, I am Mishka and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, we are going to be playing moment 7 of step 1. So before we get into it, make sure to hit the subscribe button, share with your friends if you have not already, because they need to find my amazing channel just like you have right now. So yeah, I hope you enjoy and let's get into it. Ghost. That sounds interesting. Okay. The night was incredibly still. You really couldn't ignore how silent it was. It was almost eerie. You could even hear Lizzie snoring in the next room over. It was hard to believe how much of a blur today was. Summer sure did slip right past you. You flicked through the moments like pages in a scrapbook as you laid in bed. The ones that stuck out all seemed to include your new neighbor Cove. It was funny how he had become such a big part of your life in such a short span of time. You thought a lot about what adventures you could have tomorrow until sleep started to catch up to you. Then you heard something scrape against the window. What is it? It wasn't that uncommon for the wind to press a tree branch against the glass. Summer breezes were the worst sometimes. But the more you tried to ignore it, the louder it seemed it became. It was like something was trying to get your attention. You lifted your head off the pillow to get a better look. Nothing was there. Nothing you could see, at least. Just go back to bed. It's only my imagination. You try to close your eyes and go to sleep again. But the unknown scratching sound didn't stop. It left your heart pounding. You couldn't ignore it anymore. You had to go check it out. Oh, you could talk to your no. Let's go investigate it on our own. You practically jumped out of bed and crept down the stairs to go outside. Your moms are still awake. They stayed up so late, it seemed. Luckily, they were watching TV and didn't hear the soft click of the front door opening as you slipped past. You looked around the neighborhood for a few seconds, checking over each individual house. It looked normal, but it didn't feel that way. You knew you were supposed to be out here right now. It was exhilarating. Your chest was light and you couldn't keep the grin from your face. No one had permitted you to go out. In fact, no one even knew you were out, and yet here you were. You wondered what else you could do. What other rules were so ingrained that you would never even consider that they could be broken?
Mina.
Oh, Cove? Wait, what? You twitched at the sudden call, immediately calming down upon seeing Cove walking up to you. It was strange and yet also completely normal to have him appear like this right now. What are you doing? I saw you standing around the middle of the street from my window. You weren't sleeping either? Why not? Cove turned his lips to smile, almost as if he were amused by the question. Because I'm glad you're here. Whatever the reason is, at least you are no longer alone in the dark. Aww! Cope fumbled for an answer at your sudden admission.
Really?
You are? Yeah. I heard a strange noise. You too? That's why I was up. Oh, really? Cope hesitated for a moment, looking down the street before his aquamarine eyes fell on you again. Did it scare you? Yeah.
It's okay.
Me too, but it's okay. Nothing is gonna happen. You could tell. Oh jeez. You could see Cove was trying to be brave for your sake, and it made you feel a little better. I was kind of wondering if it was the wind, but what if it's not? What if it's a person? What if it's something that's not a person? The unsettling noise suddenly rushed through the air. Cove and you flinched. It sounds even worse than before. You were about to agree with him when the noise came yet again, tearing through the still night. The two of you rapidly looked around, trying to find the source, but to no avail. There was no sign of an answer to this puzzle. You thought that it had to be a ghost. Invisible, creepy thing luring children from their beds. It had to be a monster. The thought terrified you down to the bones, and you regretted leaving the safety of your nice warm bed. You shakily inched closer to Cove. He was there for you, and right now you were counting on that. Oh, that's sweet. Hey, can you tell where it's coming from? Not really. Then we'll have to look more, somewhere else. Maybe we'll see something. Okay, let's go. As you walk the familiar streets of your neighborhood, fear coursed through your veins. When your hand brushed against his, you realized that you hadn't been the only one who tried closing the gap. Shadows cut corners and angles where you didn't expect them, distorting the features you saw every day. The noise came again, shrill and hard. It set your teeth on edge the way it's ground its way through you. Cove's throat bobbed. His eyes glistened in the dim light. You ran to hide behind Cove. No, do this. Oh my god. With a noise that escaped you in a sort of a shriek. Oh jeez. With a noise that escaped you in a sort of shriek, you darted behind Cove, using him as a human shield. Mina! Holding onto the back of his shirt, you used it to keep him in front of you, even when he awkwardly tried to spin around in order to see you. You can come out. Here. He lifted his uncasted hand up to where you could see it. When Cove offered, it only made your hump throat louder, but it wasn't out of fear. Wait, is he offering his hand? Ooh, no, accept his hand. You carefully slid your hand into his, and though your palms were both clammy, you held on tight. You couldn't explain why, but it made you feel stronger, and you felt like you were ready to continue now. Cove shut his eyes and pressed his lips together. Your fingers locked around each other even tighter.
So...
Where did you want to check? Ooh, let's check the beach. The beach stretched out in front of you, nothing in sight along its sands, no matter which way you turned. Part of you had imagined the noise as some kind of creature of the deep, washed-up shore. Oh my gosh, part of you had imagined the noise as some creature of the deep, washed up on the shore and calling for aid. That theory had to be taken off the list for now. Still, you spent enough time on the shore to know that the real finds often required a sharp eye and careful attention. The sound screamed past your ear. You hunched up, shoulders high, as if ready to endure a blow, but the only damage was to your ears. There didn't appear to be any immediate danger, despite every bone in your body telling you that something wasn't right. But you kept going forward. You couldn't stop when you had already gone so far. You had to find out what was going on. Terror washed over you, raising the fine hairs on the back of your neck, and Cove gave your shoulder a squeeze in a show of support. His eyes were wide, his breathing heavy. He then whispered to you, "Let's see if there's anything here." Cove began to comb the beach for clues. You followed suit. The angry wind set grains of sand rolling across the beach like waves. You stayed clear of the water, which was rough and choppy tonight, and scoured the area for hints as to what might be happening. You saw something glint in the sand, full of promise. When you eagerly uncovered it, you found it was just a foil from a chip packet. You stowed it away with a sigh. Did you find something? Just trash. Cove shrugged and gave you a sympathetic smile. That's how it goes sometimes. You like hunting for treasures on the beach too? Yeah. Have you ever found anything mysterious or weird? You were expecting him to mull the question over for a bit, but Cove answered immediately. Teeth. Ooh, like a shark's tooth? You've seen this for sale in shops, though you'd never been lucky enough to stumble across one at the beach. No, not that. People teeth. What? No. Yeah, you know how grown-ups sometimes don't have their own teeth any longer and they get fake ones so they can still eat? You nodded, listening in fascinated horror. I found some, the top half. How'd you know it was the top half? It had the pink top of the mouth bit, like this. He opened wide and pointed at the roof of his mouth. You let out a squeal. What did you do with them? Mom took them from me. I don't know what happened to it after that. That was... way stranger than the stuff I've seen. The weirdest thing I remember was a key ring with Lizzie's name on it, but it wasn't actually hers. The coincidence was made much less special by the fact it actually said Liz, a moniker your sister had never taken.
Neat.
Neat. Cove was still tickled by your discovery, even if you thought it wasn't as exciting as his. Once you were satisfied nothing out of the ordinary was to be found on the beach, you had to consider your next step. Though the noise wasn't as clear as when you first stepped outside, you could still hear its streaks rending through the peaceful night. Maybe we should go back home. Oh wait. Actually, no, let's check out the park. The private playground was as empty as ever. You could just about hear the mysterious sound if you were quiet, but it had simmered down to a whisper. Cove was practically shaken when he realized it progressed far enough to reach there. He swallowed He swallowed hard, but faced you with a determined face. My dad says, good detective work starts at home. He watches a lot of crime shows, so maybe it could be good to look closely. Okay. The two of you swept through every corridor of the park. No monkey bar, swing, or tower went unchecked. Huh. He was squatting on the ground, squinting at something in his hand. Intrigued, you checked over his shoulder so you could see too. Cove held it in his open palm. Coiled inside was a length of sparkly chain, grains of sand emboldened in the fine links. Lifting it up, it became apparent how this had come to be here. You'd seen bracelets and necklaces enough to recognize that clasp which held it together had snapped. It's broken. It's silver. Werewolves hate silver. Other things too, I think. If this noise is caused by a monster, we can protect ourselves with it. Yeah! He flicked the chain as if cracking a tiny whip. I wonder if there's anything else we could use out here. Cove considered this, frowning. I should have grabbed some garlic before I left. His frown developed into a scowl. It probably wouldn't have worked. Dad doesn't have real garlic. He gets fake garlic. It's little flakes in a jar, not real blobs you have to cut up like Mom uses. We won't need it anyway. It won't be a vampire. They're not this loud. You're right. You had exhausted all the possible places to search in the park. Straightening up, you mused over your next step. It's gone. What? Then you realized it. The noise, which had grown fainter and less frequent during your search, had died off completely. You and Cove shared puzzled looks, but neither of you had an answer for what had caused the mystery sound or made it go away. A yawn crept up on you. All the excitement had made you forget how late it was. Let's go home. We're not going to find anything now. The night was still as you walked home. With none of the usual background noises or the eerie whistle from before, you could hear every step you and Cove made like a cough in a movie theater. The two of you came to a halt outside your front door. Never before had it looked so ominous. Now sneak back inside. Do you sneak out a lot? Yeah, why not? I like being out late. Me too, it's not a big deal. He looked at the ground sheepishly, likely recalling how frightened he had been up until just recently. Usually. Are you worried about getting caught?
No.
He was so forthright that you believed him completely. But your dad, won't he get mad or sad if he catches you? He's never happy with what I do. Oh. That's sad, honestly. You sympathize. That must be hard. Yeah, he and Mom do what they want. Why shouldn't I? Alright, I'm going in.
Bye.
Okay, good night. Good night, Cove. Thanks for coming with me tonight. I'm not sure I could have done it by myself. I wanted to go with you. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Take a picture of that. You wanted to go with us? Oh my god. Hearing that caused your face to heat up. You turned the doorknob as slowly as the clock's minute hand, holding your breath for the tail click of the lock that nudged it open. When all that happened was the door opening rather than the blaring alarms that you'd fear, you melted with relief. Back inside your house, you were surprised to find your mom still watching TV. Peter still looked like they were on the same show as they were watching before you left, yet you were positive you had been out investigating for hours. Perhaps you could use their distraction to your advantage. If you could just get up the stairs, you would be safe from suspicion. But how could you get there? Walk in your house nonchalantly. Sometimes the best thing you could do is to hide in plain sight. You strode across the room in the direction of the staircase. Mina? Your moms knew you were up, but they had no idea why. They abandoned the couch and their show to hurry over. They were still in a state of surprise. You weren't in trouble yet. Okay, well, we ain't gonna be in trouble. What are you doing down here, sweetie? Did you have a bad dream? Yeah, I'll be lying. You couldn't bring yourself to own up to what you had done. I heard scary noises, so I came down here. The surprise gave way to concern.
Sweetie.
Honey. Mom took you by the hand and led you up the stairs. Oof, your hand is cold. Why didn't you come over to us? I was supposed to be in bed. Man, you won't ever be in trouble for coming to us when you're frightened. We'd much rather you came to us than try to solve all things by yourself. Her phrasing made you feel bad. Not really. The nervousness ate at you as you were tucked into bed. Your mom's assumed that your flushing and insistence on delving under the covers was a part of your fear and spoke to you softly until you calmed down enough to peep out from underneath your sheets. Once your mom had left, you turned over the night's adventure in your mind. It was still hard to believe you'd really done it. It was harder still to believe that you'd gotten away with it. Even now, you have expected to be caught somehow. Perhaps you left the drawer ajar or trailed sand where they'd already swept up. You hoped that Cove had gotten home okay. Though he hadn't been worried, being told off was never fun. Wriggling down deeper underneath the sheets, your thoughts turned to the unsolved mystery. You and Cove had only just begun to scratch the surface of it. Maybe you'd solve it, and maybe you wouldn't, but knowing that you had shared it with him made you feel like you were going to be tickled from the inside. You hugged the pillow to your chest, tossing and turning as you replayed the night's events in your mind, daydreaming about different ways it could have gone. Any fear or danger that might have been there was entirely overshadowed by thinking on how close you had been with Cove the entire trip. Whew, sorry. Your daydreams ushered you into sleep with smiles on your face. Oop. Okay. The next morning proceeded mostly like usual, though your mom seemed to be giving extra consideration since finding you last night. You later learned Cove didn't end up in trouble for the nightly escape aid either. It wasn't clear whether that was because his dad chose not to punish him or if Cove got away with it. It was amazing to you that it all worked out for you both. As for the sense that started this all, the adults around were convinced it was nothing more than the wind. For your imaginative mind, that wasn't nearly enough. How could they accept something so simple so easily? Maybe it makes more sense when you were grown up too. Oh my gosh, everyone, what a moment. Okay, so that is all for this episode. And we held hands with Cove for the first time. Kinda. But yeah, that is all for today. But lastly, you're a Gemini. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye!